There is no need to worry or wait until 2016. We now have our first ever Justice League movie in the Lego movie, out of all the things. Hey guys, Div here with a movie review, and this time I'm going to be talking about what I consider to be one of the most anticipated movies for me of the year. And I was so happy to learn that it was coming out early in the year. For some reason I kept thinking that this was coming out in the summer, but then it said February 7th, and I'm like, cool, here it is, and now here I am to finally talk about it. In the Lego movie, Emmett, an ordinary construction worker in the world of Lego, must face his destiny to save the world that he loves from the evil Mr. Business. And this is one of those movies that I feel compelled to not tell you anything about, because I feel that the more fresh you are going into it, the better you are off, because I feel like this is one of those movies that you go into it not knowing as much, and that's what's going to be the best thing about it, because you not only have fun figuring out who does the voice of who, but just seeing all of these jokes that are geared towards both kids and adults, and having this story unfold that is both charming and heartfelt and funny. It's just one of the best experiences that you can have, and it's definitely one of the best experiences I've had so far in the year in the movie theater, because I love this movie. It started off as a good movie, there's no denying about it. The animation in this movie is just outstanding. It's that kind of animation where I believe it's stop motion combined with computer animation, where they went ahead and they used some computer animation to kind of help them out, polish the edges a little bit. But aside from that, the animation is just so lifelike. Like, you can tell how they went into so much work to put in all the details with all these different Lego figures and all these different Lego environments. Not only is every shot expertly lit, but it looks like an actual Lego playset. Like, none of it feels like those 3D movies, those direct-to-video Lego movies, like the Lego Batman, or I don't know. There's various Blu-rays and DVDs out there of Lego movies that went straight to video. But this one, everything looks like it's an actual playset, only with a higher budget. It's like those little Lego movies you would make as a kid, or if you did that as a kid like I did, where we would take the Lego figures, shoot a photo or a tiny snippet of a video, move the Lego figure, take another one, and therefore play them from one to another to be able to animate them and create this stop motion little mini film. It looked like that, only except with the higher budget and with the voice talents to back it up, as well as the great script. And I just loved it, because not only did it brought me back to those days where I would play with my Lego figures, and not only the animation and cinematography in the movie did that, but also the story as well, and I get to that in a second. But it just made the movie a lot more relatable visually, in terms of its presentation. It didn't look like a $100 million big budget adaptation of a license that they just want to put out there in a movie and just make some money off of it, sell some toys. It genuinely felt like this movie came out of people that played with Legos when they were a kid. And of course, this movie is written and directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who brought you Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and 21 Jump Street. However, that further cements evidence that they can take whatever the hell they want, anything at all, anything that you look at it and go, how in the hell can they make a movie out of this? And then they turn it into a movie. And by that, I mean a great movie. Now, I will be honest, I have not seen 21 Jump Street. I'm sorry, I just haven't seen it. But from what I hear, it is a great movie. People loved it. And they never thought it would be possible to make not only a good 21 Jump Street movie, but a 21 Jump Street movie that made sense, period. However, I did see Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and I love that movie, and I was really surprised to hear that it's a storybook for children that doesn't really have a story. It's just about this land that has food falling from the sky, and they went ahead and took that, stretched it to an hour and a half or an hour and 45-minute movie, and made a story out of it. They did the exact same thing with the Lego movie, where it's not just about certain kind of characters and their story, it's about all of Lego in general. And on top of that, it just tells a really heartwarming story that appeals to me because not only did I play with Legos as a kid, but also because anybody who collects figures, especially people who watch my videos that, they started watching me with my days of reviewing Transformers and collecting Transformers and all that, go see this movie. It would really speak to you. It would really speak to you. It would really speak to you and remind you of why you got into the hobby of collecting figures in the first place. It's not exactly about that, but it just makes you think about that. It makes you think back to your childhood and playing with your toys. It doesn't necessarily have to be with Legos, but it brings back memories of your childhood and it makes you not forget them. Alright, in case you have, which the film touches upon that, but in case you have forgotten about what it feels like to be a kid, this movie will remind you. And you guessed it, this movie's funny. Not only because of the sheer talent behind this movie, I knew some of the people that were providing the voices in this movie, like Chris Pratt and Morgan Freeman and Will Ferrell. But there were others that I kind of forgot about. Like I saw their names in articles saying that so-and-so is going to be playing so-and-so. But I forgot. So to see their name again in the credits, I was like, wow. They did such a great job that I didn't really recognize them, and that caught me off by surprise. And on top of that, you got some really great script writing. You got some great jokes that are not only, like I said, catered towards kids, because there were some that you can tell that they're jokes for kids. I don't want to say that they fell flat, because they're jokes that are not for me. I'm not supposed to laugh at them, but I saw this movie with a bunch of kids, because it was a Friday night, and all the parents took their kids to go see the Lego Movie. But they laughed at those jokes. I didn't because they're not for me. But then right after that, there will be a joke that was for me. That was a movie reference or an inside reference. Only something that I would get. Either that or it's just something that both kids and adults can laugh at. And nobody can do it better like Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. I believe that at this point they have achieved the Christopher Nolan status. But for kid movies where whatever they're making, I am there. The next movie that they're making, I'm in the movie theater. If there's one nitpick, and trust me, not only is it just one, but it's the smallest of things. It's so small that it hardly even scratches the movie, if you want to call it that. And that is that later on in the movie, they take the story in a direction that they were foreshadowing up until that point. And I gotta be honest, every time that they kept foreshadowing this particular aspect of the movie, I kept thinking to myself, I would respect this movie quite an awful lot if they did go in that direction. And they did. And I loved it, and they pulled it off really, really well, because it could have fallen apart at that point. When that thing happened, I was like, this could go south at any moment. But because I have confidence in these guys, I had faith and I had confidence, and sure enough, they pulled it off. It was so well done, and it's one of the most, if not the most heartwarming piece of the movie. The part of the movie that, I don't want to say brought me to tears, but it really did make me feel warm inside. It made me feel kind of emotional, especially because I would not only play with Lego figures, but I would play with toys in general. And it applies to any sort of aspect of toy collecting or playing with toys, period. But that particular aspect of the movie could be used in an argument of how this movie did kind of borrow from a particular franchise that is a critically acclaimed franchise that is also considered to be a family movie series. That's all I'm going to say, because I feel that if I mention the title of this franchise, it might be a bit of a spoiler, because I really want to keep this direction that they took the movie under wraps as much as possible, because I don't want to spoil it, and I really want you to go see this movie. But that's all I'm going to say. It's a franchise, it's a kids movie, but as a whole it's a family movie. It's critically acclaimed, and it's one of the most successful franchises in movie history. That's all I'm saying. But it was funny, it was heartwarming, it was quickly paced, and it was beautifully shot. We didn't have to wait that long to get the first great movie of 2014. I give the Lego Movie a 9 out of 10. Definitely one of the earliest movies that I'm going to put into consideration for my top 10 movies of 2014 by the end of the year. Please do yourself a favor and go see the Lego Movie. I was driving home with nothing but a smile on my face. That's how amazing this movie was. And I kept thinking back to some of the jokes in the movie that I just kept laughing more as I thought back to them, especially one of the last lines in the movie. It's not the last line in the movie, but it's one of the last few, like the last 5 lines in the movie, that is a reference to another movie. And when I heard it, I was just busting out laughing. So don't make me say it again. Go see the Lego Movie. I highly recommend it. One of the best movies of the year so far. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. And yeah, can't get that song out of my head. Everything is awesome.